Good, good, good. Excellent. And great to follow on from the RBA, because generally graduates that are interested in the RBA, ASIC, APRA, we all kind of work together to a degree at some parts in our life cycle, let's say. Also, Treasury and a few other, regulatory organisations. So good that you can meet with both of us as well. So Emma is a graduate who's joined us in 2021. Our graduate program is 18 months, and we'll talk you through that. And then my role is really running the graduate program, recruiting graduates. Then throughout the 18 months, I stay very connected to the graduates, checking in all the time in regards to where would you like to sort of take your rotation to next, and getting feedback to make sure that we've got a bit of a personalised service in regards to how your rotations flow around the business. But why don't we start off with what it really says on the front packet of our graduate program. And really the program structure for us is we do have an 18-month program. It is 3 6-month rotations. Now you can come into the program with whatever degree that you have. We're very open to degrees and the backgrounds of that. Generally, of course, degrees like economics, finance, commerce would traditionally be very attractive and natural fits for APRA, but we definitely do go wider than that, and definitely graduates do actually really enjoy the opportunities at APRA, from arts degrees, also obviously engineering and science. Definitely we've had engineers or even mathematicians that have come in and thought that they would be landing in the data area, but ended up in the policy area because they realised that being in a team with mostly policy people and them being a data heavy person, they were the X factor in the team, let's say. So a lot of our roles across APRA are very teams based, and we do have a mixture of skills and backgrounds, so very open to degrees. So we are really keen for you to step out of your comfort zone when you come to our graduate program. So those we do have pretty much 3 main areas, which we'll go into a bit later, but you will definitely try out some of your data skills along the way, some of your advice skills along the way, and then find out what frontline supervision is with us as well, because until you really get into it, it's a bit hard to understand. But that's pretty much our bread and butter, is really what it is. And basically throughout the program we offer you a lot of support. So we have executive sponsors. Some of our executive directors are very close and really make sure that you get to also meet a number of very senior people across APRA. So they're sponsors. We have industry mentors as well. So that's someone that's really, because you're moving through various rotations, you would be paired with this mentor a bit more senior, so that you have someone to connect with the whole way through. And then obviously on each rotation you would get a connection with a rotation manager, and we would set some goals and get some feedback at the end of that. We connect you very heavily with the graduate year before, so you can learn all their tricks and tips. So we connect you with buddies, and then there's a lot of connection with people and culture, whether it's on the learning side and what we've mapped out for you, or whether it's just a check-in to see how you're going. Did you hear about this area over here and you are starting to become interested in it, and therefore maybe we should shape your rotations to that. So that's a bit about the rotations and the support. We do take graduates in our main office and our head office in Sydney, but we do actually take graduates in Brisbane and also in Melbourne offices as well. So you can, mostly our assessment centres are virtual, so you can apply from wherever. And if you aren't in those locations, we do have a relocation package as well. So that's where we look to take graduates. And then our APRA partners, as I sort of mentioned, RBA, ASIC, ACCC, Treasury and international regulators, we are always encouraging you to stay abreast of what's happening there. And hopefully later on in your career, we've also got some common opportunities and whatnot that, potentially you can go to one of those regulators and really see how. There's one thing about seeing how APRA works, what prudential supervision is, but then it's growing and seeing how we all work together, because we really do all have the same sort of mandate. So Working at APRA, straight into eligibility and how you can apply or if you can apply. We do look for Australian and New Zealand citizens, or if you have obtained PR by the end of this year, let's say. So unfortunately, we don't take international students if you don't have PR or citizenship. We are looking for you to have completed a degree. We're not looking for HDs or distinctions or any sort of grade mark. It's just if you've completed a degree. Of course, we have a really big mix of graduates that come into our program, from people that have done their honours or 2 degrees or whatever. So it is a really big mix, that cohort that comes in. And also you have to have the ability to work in one of our offices. Again, we'll talk about it a bit later, but we do have a hybrid working environment where you don't always have to be in the office, but we need you to be able to go to the office at some point. So therefore, again, Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne, you have to be able to commit yourself to one of those offices. Qualifications, what qualifications, again, as I've mentioned, we really do open that up. So if you're interested in APRA, do find out about who we are and what we do, and if something that we do is of interest to you, then that's why you need to apply, and would be open to the degree. And if you do have, I'll give you a bit of a tip, if you do have a degree that's doesn't just naturally sort of connect with APRA, let's say on the finance, economics side of things, then make sure in the application you really do pull out and really do think about that why, and what you can maybe pull out of your degree or your studies to connect and add some value to APRA as well. And again, we're very open, not biased or anything like that to any particular university. So again, applying, we're all open in regards to that. Why do people join APRA? And Emma will start to add to this as well, if she hasn't frozen. But Emma, I can add to this as well. But why do people join APRA? Really, whenever I talk about the graduates, it's about the uniqueness of the work, and really that view from the top, let's say, the breadth of the work across the industry. Again, similar to probably what the RBA said as well, and ASIC is the same, as we are really looking at a wide range of what's going on in the industry. You're not going into one organisation and just looking at that organisation or what that organisation does. So that's really something that the graduates seem to enjoy and can connect to. Again, they can connect to our mandate and know that we are doing something and how we give back to the Australian community. And again, yes, the work that we do is sometimes mentioned in the paper, in the media and whatnot, and you think, God, I was actually part of that even as a graduate. So they really enjoy that as well. The culture, feedback, and we do have some new videos coming out, and I think one of the first things that one of the graduates mentions is, I was very surprised about just how friendly everyone is. So the rest of the organisation comes into jobs that they really enjoy, and that they can again give back to the community with. So I suppose if you're liking your role, you're probably friendly to each other. So that's a bit of a bonus. We definitely have a commitment around your well-being, the organisation's well-being, inclusion and diversity programs as well, and also we've got a real focus on understanding you, personalising your development journey, and enabling you to be a master at what you really want to do and where you want to go with your career, and finding that purpose around it. And sometimes that's going to be the lateral move, sometimes it's going to be the promotion and the elevated move, but we really do push you to come out of your comfort zone, try new things, and just see if you really like it. And that's what our graduate program's created to do. And again, very often every year I will get a graduate or a few graduates in that cohort that's like, I thought I was going to do this, but because of the program I now know that I'm quite interested in this. So that's pretty much where I might leave it for a moment, Emma, and stop talking if you don't mind. Do you mind to pick it up and share a bit of your experience?
Yeah, no, of course. Definitely happy to share my experience. Thank you, Zoe. And yeah, just to echo what she's been saying, I think for myself coming out of university in terms of thinking of what I want to do. Finance is such a big world and the job possibilities in finance are massive. And so if you're a little unsure of where the specific spot you want to go into is, which I found a lot of the graduate programs were very early on trying to narrow you down to a specific area. When you're at APRA, you get to see superannuation, you get to see insurance, you get to see banking, all in this big picture, and you have data from all of the entities, and you get to see how they work and how they operate and analyze and how they do business. So you just get this perspective and this understanding of how financial services work, which you can then take into the rest of your career. And that sort of knowledge and access is not available everywhere. So it's definitely one of the main reasons I went with APRA for my graduate program. But if we could move on to the next one, Zoe, start having a look at, so what can I do at APRA? So what can you do during the graduate program? So we look at it in terms of 3 different rotations across 3 different divisions. So you start off with industry supervision. So you'll be put into either a banking, an insurance, or a superannuation stream, and you'll have a rotation in our frontline teams. And that type of work supervision is very interesting. So you have a direct relationship with an entity or group of entities, and you liaison with them and you analyze their data. And if they have issues, they come and talk to you. And there's a lot of interesting work around that aspect. Then we have our policy and advice rotation, which is our legal licensing. That's the teams that build the policy that businesses have to operate based off and our APRA standards. And so you get to spend time looking at the foundations of APRA and the policy and what sets up our frameworks. And then we also have our data and industry insights team, which are our risk specialists and our data experts, and see how we use data to analyze our entities and to help regulate and make a safer community. So that's a really good opportunity there. And moving on to the next one, Zoe, do you want to talk a little bit?
We're not going to go through this slide because there's a lot of detail in it, but I think that one of our, the key elements of our graduate program, which again, this has been pointed out by graduates that have been on the program, this is why we've put these elements into the presentation, is the training and development and how intense it is, for your 18 months. And the fact that the training isn't just about the technical skills, it's definitely about your personal development as well, that again, you can take on for the rest of your career. So there's definitely, our enabling skills, and then, focusing on your professional and personal effectiveness, and then really building capabilities for the future and future leadership. So I think it's just really important to sort of understand, and it's sort of a tidbit again that I'd give, that as much as you can really understand from the organizations that you are applying to, maybe not before you apply because that's a bit too much, but as you're getting into the interviews and finding out about that organization and choosing at the end when you have many offers on the table, really investigate what their training and development plan is as well. And life as a graduate, we probably have touched on a few of these things, Emma, but if you want to take it away again with just a few other elements of life as a graduate.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'll start off with hybrid working. So obviously we've all had this big COVID situation. You're probably thinking, well, finance was meant to be a 9 to 5 in the office every day, but that picture has entirely changed, and APRA is really flexible with how we work. And so even as graduates, we know we have hybrid working arrangements. You go into the office some days, you don't go in some days. You can choose which days you like to go in. There's flexible working hours. So that's been a really awesome experience coming into finance like that. The other thing that APRA has, which
Emma, is that we don't have, mandated days. I think some organizations as well have mandated days, but we don't have that. And you'll still find a lot of our teams are mixed up. So it's not just all the policy teams are in Sydney and the data teams are in Brisbane. We definitely, within a team, generally, you might have someone that is based in Brisbane, is based in Melbourne, and then maybe quite a few people have been in Sydney because it's our sort of more head office. But yeah, that's some good elements to add as well.
Yeah, no, thank you, Zoe. And so moving on from that, just a general, I can tell you about what I did on last Thursday, a day in the life of a graduate. I had a big presentation that I did in front of the entire banking division from APRA. So they give you opportunities to learn how to develop personal skills and also share your professional learnings to leaders and like APRA wide. Then in the afternoon, I did some entity analysis. We had a few entity meetings coming up, so I had to read through some data, put together a few file notes and things. So the thing about APRA's graduate program is you're not just stuck with the grunt work. You're not just writing all these meeting minutes and things like that. They get you to do real work and you get to learn on the job. And so that's a lot of fun. The social club is a really great aspect of APRA, where as a graduate, you're put into the social club and they organize different events and Thursday night get-togethers, and we've got different raffles and sporting teams. And so you get to be a part of that, and you're actually meant to be a part of that. And then further on that, we have culture, inclusivity, and diversity groups as well, where we do things. We have different events with them as well. There's groups on gender, groups on LGBTQI, groups dependent on your age, different cultures. So there's a lot of understanding in APRA, and it's a really great environment. It's an environment where you can develop. It's an environment where people care for you, and people want graduates to succeed. They want to mentor you. They want to encourage you. They want to teach you what they know. And these people at APRA are really, really bright people. So it's just lots of information, and it's really great. Back to you, Zoe.
And also, I think, I think another thing about our I&D programs, they were really, really almost a lifesaver during COVID, because a lot of the events of what we would have had to put together, they were always pushed out to the whole of APRA. So you're working away in your bedroom or out in the lounge room or wherever you're finding your working space last year. And then all of a sudden you were able to just click on, and it was all of APRA. Let's join this. Actually right now we've got Adam Good speaking as well on a diversity event as well that we're not going to, but a lot of different speakers. Or we had the Indigenous cooking example, and we had the executive directors cooking in the kitchen and whatever else. So it really was a nice time to get involved and sort of put down the tools of analysing all the time, let's say. But yeah, also conscious of time. Sorry, go on, Emma.
I was going to say we had 2 questions you could answer quickly. Do we accept international student applications?
Yes. Okay, so no, we don't, unfortunately. We do if you've achieved, obviously, your PR, and you've got that, and that really is down to some of our security checks that we need to have for working at APRA. So it is PR or citizenship for applications. And then I can see the other one, do we offer internships? We don't. So obviously, if you've just got your degree and no work experience, we'll still look at your application, because we don't even offer the internships there. But of course, if you do want to move to APRA, obviously any financial industry internships are really helpful, or even any office work or legal offices and whatnot there. It's all really helpful as well. I've popped up our recruitment process. So our applications are currently open. You can go to our APRA website, and you'll be able to find the further information about the graduate program and also how to get to the applications. They'll be open until the 26th of April, so it's just after Easter and public holidays. So make sure you pop that date in your diary as well. We move forward after the applications to sending out some psychometric testing, and we just need all of that done. That'll be sent out sort of as you do put an application in, but we have to have that all done by the 1st of May. Then we move to shortlisting and assessment centres. So again, they will be virtual so that anyone can come and click onto that. But hopefully I say this, I've been saying this every year, but it's not quite happened yet. But hopefully we can move to face-to-face in Brisbane, Sydney or Melbourne, one-on-one interviews towards those final stages and reference checks. And we're hoping offers are July, August. And we have had a few questions, but also there's just, if you do need to email us as well for further questions, graduatecareers@apra.gov.au. We do monitor that inbox as well. Thank you very much for your time, everyone. If you have any other questions, happy to answer them, or you can email us at that email address. But good luck, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Emma. Thanks, Zoe. I appreciate that. That was excellent stuff. And if anybody does want to apply for APRA, I believe there'll be a link in the description or expression of interest where they can click on to find out more information. So thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Beautiful.